Hello, and welcome to another episode of Study of X, the X-Men podcast that goes through the Krakoa era of X-Men comics issue by issue. This week we will be talking about House of X number 4 and Powers of X number 4. Joining me as always is Chris and Sergio. How do you guys feel about these issues?
I'm feeling like this one's gonna be an even shorter discussion, even shorter than last week, the episode before.
I feel the same way, but it's more because I think House of X number 4 is really strong and very emotional, but there's not a lot to discuss other than holy shit, this just happened.
Yeah,
Where Powers of X is just kind of a really fun time. It's a palate cleanser.
yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna have to walk me through that one a bit. I felt a little lost during my first read.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, let's get into it. House of X starts off real bleak. If you want to go ahead and take us through it a little bit, Chris.
Yeah, we pick
Sure.
up right where we left off last time.
Yes, we do, thankfully. So at the end of the last issue of House of X, the X-Men's jet in space was blown up by a human scientist who decided the only way to get rid of them was to blow himself up. And we come back into that with House of X number 4, It Will Be Done, written by Hickman, originally released in September of 2019. As we open up this issue, we have an info spreadsheet simply titled, Look at What They've Done. And it lists the major mutant extinction events that have recently happened that have killed roughly 17.5 million mutants over the past couple of years.
Does this happen over the past couple of years?
This has been kind of. I'm assuming none of these are real flashbacks, but these are all X-Men runs, more or less. Like, I recognize a lot of
Hmm.
these names and plot lines. Not all of them. I missed the Leper Queen, but I have heard of a lot of these people. Um, but yeah, this is a bunch of genocides here, or well, just mass killings of mutants. Um, do you know any of these, Chris?
I know Genosha by name. I don't actually know exactly what happened there. And I also know what happened with Wanda Maximoff and the mutant erasure that she did in House of M, which I really love. The rest of these, I know a couple by name, especially the people listed, like Boulevard Trask with the Sentinels, William Stryker, and everything. But for most of these, no, not a whole lot in depth.
Yeah, the ones I know here, besides the one that you mentioned, I know Donald Pierce was a member of the Hellfire Club with Sebastian and Emma, actually. But he wasn't a mutant; he was like a cyborg, and that's kind of what the Reavers were, just a bunch of dudes with robot parts that like to kill people. Cameron Hodge was a childhood friend of Angel that started the right. That not a good dude. Graydon Creed, I think, is Sabretooth's dad, and the Friends of Humanity is like a hate group. I'm guessing Church of Humanity is a similar thing. Um, the real interesting thing is I kind of want to talk about you got all these groups like Friends of Humanity, the Right, Reavers, like these are a bunch of traditionally evil people that they kind of have like their names and kill counts listed. And then just second highest here is Wanda Maximoff from the Avengers with nearly a million mutants. And while she didn't kill them, they are depowered.
Yes, and this is very important considering how everybody so far has taken their mutant identity to be very important to who they are. So imagine you have Magneto, who's very proud to be a mutant, and suddenly, finger snap, he's no longer a mutant anymore, he's human.
Yeah, and the language they use here is very like mutant erasure by the pretender Wanda Maximoff. Like she is not looked upon very friendly like in the mutant world.
Hmm.
Yes, and something to note also for you, Sergio, is it's a little confusing depending on when you read, but Wanda Maximoff is typically the daughter of Magneto, so he does have that tie there.
It has
Oh, huh.
been retconned at this point. So while that was like a father figure for her for a little bit, in the comic canon at the moment, she is not a child of Magneto.
No, but she was still raised by him, correct?
Mm, I don't think
Or is that
so.
changed?
He found Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch and put him in the Brotherhood of Mutants, but they didn't know who he was. And then later it was a reveal that he was their parent, and then even later on it was revealed that he actually was not. So there's a moment there where they thought he was their dad, but it wasn't their entire life.
Okay. Okay. But they still do have a bit of a connection with him.
Yes, that connection's very is definitely there. But yeah, so I'm very curious about the whole stuff with Genosha. It's honestly like an era that's kind of a blind spot for me, but um, like 16.5 million dead is a big number.
Yeah, that is a very big number of dead mutants. And specifically, they do list the Sentinels and Boulevard Trask here as being responsible for those 16 million dead, which also explains why Moira decided to try and kill the entire Trask bloodline at one point, which I don't blame her for after reading a 16 million head count going on here.
Yeah, the post decimation, like after Wanda erased the 1 million mutants, is kind of nuts too. It's they went down to 198, up from millions.
Yeah. So when we were talking earlier about how everybody is trying to make this new mutant nation, build something for mutants, I'm kind of all for them considering they went from millions down to 198. That's kind of fucked up.
How are they going to start a country of 198 people though?
You know what? I think they'll be fine. It does also list here is that there have been an increased number of mutant births since the lights. I don't actually know what the lights are, but it is discussed that more mutants are being born daily, and this is also why Orcus is starting again, is because they've noticed that more people are being born as a mutant.
Yeah, there's definitely some interesting stuff here. If anyone knows about these kind of plot lines here, just let us know because I think we're missing a couple of these and we're just not really sure like when they're supposed to take place.
Yeah, I would be interested in that as well. But I also think the overall point here of people kill mutants a whole lot is really pushed across here and is very, very blatant.
Yeah, just laid out in a data sheet right here is just like it's like the coldness of reading like a Wikipedia article about it, and I don't know. I think it just comes across real well.
Mm,
Yeah. On the other hand, I feel like this comes across to me a little weightless. Probably because of my lack of experience with the franchise and not having read any other run, starting with this one, makes me feel like this is just a bunch of numbers. Like, it's a bit weightless for me.
Yeah, I think the fact that these are like previous storyline makes it hit like a bit harder, but I definitely get if you wouldn't like if you don't really have that connection to it. And honestly, like some of these are just completely unknown to me as well, so I'm kind of in the same boat. But
Yeah, like in previous runs that we've covered, these numbers do not feel reflected to me in what we've seen of the day to day and the interactions of humans with mutants, like the ambassadors doing all of these recon missions on the embassy, and like I don't see the manifestation of a reality where this has happened. So these are just numbers on the page to me. It's not working as well as I think it expects me to.
hmm hmm And weirdly enough, I actually think it makes it more realistic given how those representatives acted, because everybody still doesn't trust the mutants. Sure, there's not as many of them, but you still have Magneto, you still have Xavier who can send out a message to everybody on Earth just using his mind. So it kind of reinforces the fact that yes, we will sit at the table with mutants, but we don't fully trust you, and we never will, even though millions of you have died. And I think it just reinforces the fact that, of course, Magneto is going to want to build something for his people and a safe place for them when, after all of this loss and all of this hurt, people still aren't okay with them.
so we want to let's go on to this next scene here.
Yeah.
Sure. So we get back to Krakoa in the observation area. We have Xavier and Magneto entering a space here, and we are introduced to Henry McCoy, also called Beast, as well as Storm. They are all here working together, as well as Emma Frost's kids, to create a connection with one another so they can talk to the mutants that are currently orbiting the sun. They do this by combining their powers and using Storm's ability to manipulate the weather. She creates a sort of water holograph of Marvel Girl as they're able to talk to one another.
Yeah, we have more of these cool, kind of like biological, like plant-inspired tools.
Yes, we see Beast there kind of working on these plant computers almost
Yeah,
as
it looks
he's
like a
trying
bunch
to.
of mushrooms.
Yeah,
Yes, and it's really cool.
Trinari is also in this scene. Is kind of over here like a pod thing. I don't know what all this
Yeah.
is also, but yeah. And like Storm's like standing in the middle of a pond.
It's kind of like a shallow pool where she summons this water hologram from.
Yes, which looks really cool, by the way. I love the panel of Marvel Girl's face just kind of rising from this water pool here.
Yes, it's very cool, and I don't think it's actually even needed, considering Xavier and Marvel Girl both can talk to each other via their minds. But it looks really cool, so I'm willing to let them do that.
Yeah, they did not have to go this hard, but they did, and that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm guessing they probably could have just like done all this and probably just had a connection like mind to mind here, but I'm assuming what I'm kind of getting at here is they are too far away from each other at this point to just communicate directly.
Yes, I think that's the implication, which is why, at least on the Krakoa side, you have 8 different mutants working together to get this connection, whereas in space, we see Marvel Girl and Monet working together so they can talk back to Earth.
Yeah, meanwhile, up in space, things are not going well.
Yeah, meanwhile, in space, Archangel and Husk are just straight up dead. Uh, Wolverine is trying to reattach his arm, and Nightcrawler has internal injuries that may or may not be fatal. But they are all pulling together and have decided that they still need to go through with the mission.
All in all, the ship is holding together surprisingly well, compared to the explosion we saw at the end of the last issue.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's in great shape, but yeah, it's hanging in there.
Yeah, they aren't all vented into space, luckily. So, but once they get the resolve to keep going with their mission, Nightcrawler teleports Cyclops, Wolverine, and Mystique all to different security collars, and they all begin to work to unlock them so they can send the Mother Mold into the sun.
I really like this part because they kind of give explanations here. Wolverine gets sent into the lock with the highest security presence because they're like, yeah, you're gonna be able to fight some people. Mystique gets sent into a place where she can blend in, which is an actual good use of her power. We can see because she can shapeshift. We'll see how well that ends up turning out. And then they couldn't think of an idea for Cyclops and Nightcrawler, so they just kind of got sent to the other two.
Mm-hmm. And then we have a really nice panel here with Karima and Dr. Gregor, who is completely paralyzed with grief over the loss of her husband. And Karima basically has no chill and tells her to suck it up and get back to work, which she proceeds to do and is starting to order everybody around, telling them that the mutants are headed towards the locks. And as she is explaining this, 2 of these security collars are already unlocked. As Wolverine and Nightcrawler very quickly finish what they're supposed to do.
Karima here kind of refers to herself as an observer, which I think is kind of interesting. I wonder what she's supposed to be doing.
Yeah, the chain of command here isn't clear, because she says, if you plan on just sitting there, paralyzed by loss, then I can't actually order you to defend this station. And she's speaking to Gregor.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what her role in all this
Yeah.
is.
It almost feels like she's a third party in this, which is interesting.
Yeah, and
but I'm also not sure what it means.
Yeah, and I feel like it is supposed to be kind of left ambiguous of like what her agenda is and who she's working for. Like it does seem Orcus, but she doesn't seem to be under the rest of these people.
Yeah.
Something else I kind of noticed here. Oh yeah, the Wolverine handled his lock very aggressively. Nightcrawler just kind of tied up two dudes.
Hmm. Which is very accurate to both of them.
Yeah,
I mean, Wolverine kind of took the Sabretooth route.
yeah, just a pile of bodies. But I mean, he said this is what he said. These people are not innocent, so it makes sense. And also, these were security guards.
Uh-huh.
Hmm. But once we see that two of the collars are unlocked, we head back to Krakoa and the amazing water hologram going on. And as they are in the middle of discussing things, Monet and Jean Grey break the connection as they're being boarded by the enemy ships. Monet forces Marvel Girl into an escape pod and shoots her out of the ship as Monet reveals her mutant power and takes on a bunch of the guards by herself.
She seems to be doing just fine.
Yeah, I'm guessing this doesn't end up going well for her, but yeah, she's hanging in there.
Yeah, you can see a couple of bullet holes in her as she is ripping two guards into pieces, but I imagine that that's not going to last for long. And something to note here as well is at first, Marvel Girl does not want to be separated from Monet because that would break their connection to Krakoa. She says she can't talk to them with her powers alone. She's not strong enough.
Yeah, Monet says get over it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very, very low chill. Just get over it. Get out of here. So we cut to Cyclops as he is able to disengage his security collar, and he checks in on Mystique, who is in the middle of trying to find hers when she runs into Karima and Dr. Gregor, who immediately eject her into space.
Yeah, not in disguise. I don't know what Mystique was doing here. I kind of don't buy I got turned around, which is what she says here.
You know, that's actually a good point as well. I didn't even notice that. She does have more of a normal skin tone going on because normally she's blue. So it says almost she's halfway into a disguise, but you're right, her costume is the same. She doesn't have different clothes on. It's very odd.
Yeah, like it's
Yeah, I was also going to point out, I even thought maybe I had gotten her mixed up with some other mutant because that was the only explanation I had for why she wasn't in disguise here. Like, she only needed like an extra second to make Gregor hesitate. But no, she's just caught.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Mystique comes across as either suspicious or completely inept, and I feel like suspicious makes more sense for this character. Like I think she did something here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I can buy
I would
that.
agree with you.
Yeah.
But she's dead now, so it doesn't really matter. Um, yeah, let's keep going with it.
Yeah, so after Mystique is unceremoniously shoved out into space, Dr. Gregor keeps that space lock open, so there is now a hard vacuum where that security collar is now. She then goes and begins to bring the mother mold online, despite Karima telling her if she does that now, it's very likely that the mother mold is going to be insane or at least genocidal.
Yeah, I think this kind of brings us back to the previous issue and kind of the what Karima was saying about panicking. That's when decisions that aren't great get made, and yeah, we are now booting on and on an AI that might be a sociopath.
Uh-huh. This is how we get to that sermon at the beginning of The Last Powers of X.
Yeah, just
Yes. Yes, and how humans are slaves and must bow to the robots. This is how it happens.
so yeah, things are looking urgent in mutant land.
Yes. And because of that, Marvel Girl is able to actually make connection with Krakoa by herself and tell the professor and everybody else that the mother mold is coming online and they do not know what to do. And with a little bit of hesitation, but barely any, Professor X tells her that they have to do whatever it takes.
Yeah, this is the tone of this is dire. Like this has gone incredibly wrong at this point.
I like how we get a classic loudspeaker countdown, counting down to the mother mold boot.
Yeah, it's like a
Yeah, this.
self-destruct sequence. Like,
Uh huh. Yeah, it's a good tropes. Never die.
yep.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, you can't hate it. As much as these guys are villains, they know what to stick to and what works.
I love the shot here of Cyclops just kind of pounding on the glass as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
So once the call comes through that they have to do whatever it takes, we cut to Nightcrawler and Wolverine together saying that they know what they have to do here. And there's a really nice moment of the two of them as Nightcrawler wants to see if Wolverine is ready to do what they're planning to do. And Wolverine asks him if there's any hope for him in the afterlife, which Wolverine typically is not a very spiritual kind of guy, but Nightcrawler very much is. It's a very very large part of his personality. And Nightcrawler responds that when he wakes from this earthly slumber to look for him, for he will be radiant and waiting for him with open arms.
Yeah, it's a nice bit of camaraderie here.
Mm-hmm.
I also
And it's
really
a,
like on the previous page, as the mother mold's booting up, we get a shot of the huge head with light emanating from its eyes and mouth. It's really cool. It looks great.
Yeah, just kind of slowly waking up.
yes,
Yeah.
and a really good sense of scale as well.
Uh-huh.
But that very nice moment of levity is immediately shown for what it is as Nightcrawler teleports himself and Wolverine to the last security caller outside, and Nightcrawler is immediately disintegrated by the sun as they land. And Wolverine, due to his healing ability, is able to hold on for a little bit as he starts to hack away at the security caller.
The effect here with both disintegrating looks incredibly good. I love this.
Yeah, it's cool looking. Nightcrawler just instantly becoming a skeleton while Wolverine is just trying to fight through it.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's almost like a dust effect. There's just dust and smoke coming off of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they are in very close proximity to the sun here, and yeah, you can tell. Um, there's a shot of Mother Mold trying to, it shoots out some wires, kind of trying to stop Wolverine, and it like grabs onto one of his arms, and it is his arm is being attached to his body by what looks like just kind of a bone at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. He's able to heal through some of this, but clearly not all of it. But thankfully, it is enough as he is able to cut through the security collar and send the mother mold into the sun. But instead of trying to get back, he jumps onto the mother mold's head and starts to tear it apart as both of them fall into the sun.
Anything that helps.
Yeah, anything that helps because as this is happening, the mother mold is talking and it is very clearly not sane and not doing well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, yeah, no. If man made me, then they are God. You are Titans, their spoiled lineage. But while you war, we children sit in judgment of those above us. We judge and find you both wanting. Yeah, this is not something you want online.
No. So, thank you, mutants, for doing this. I'm sure Orcus will be very happy about this. But once this is done, we cut back to the others, and Storm is not taking this well. That Wolverine and Nightcrawler have died. Jean Grey is not doing well. Cyclops is going to make his way to the escape pod as best as he can, but gets caught by Karima and Dr. Gregor, as Karima essentially paralyzes him, and then Dr. Gregor comes in and tells him that they are not going to be taking any hostages, and just point blank blows his head off.
Yeah, he gets paralyzed, depowered, and then shot in the face. Um, yeah, not a super great death for Cyclops here.
And Jean Grey being tied into all of this as she is the connection point between this team and Krakoa is very aware when that happens and is not dealing with it well in the escape pod as she basically curls up. And as this is happening, Beast tells the professor that the Sentinels from Mercury have now arrived and have caught Jean Grey in her escape pod. And we see them very quickly and very brutally rip it open.
Yep. Not a good end for her here.
Yeah, and we kind of start having this Xavier narration over this as Jean Grey is kind of getting attacked by these
Ripped
Sentinels.
apart.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm actually gonna read this here because I think it's really good, especially tying into what the rest of this issue does. But it says, "Look at what they've done, what they always do. Look at how this always ends with fire and death and the funerals of our children. Every victory, ash, every triumph, defeat. They've murdered us. They've murdered so many of us, the world has grown used to it. This is just how things are for those people, for mutants." And then we get a one final shot of Xavier and everybody else at Krakoa trying to handle this death of the entire team at this point. And as you flip the page, the remainder of the comic is simply the phrase "no more" in black and white as we get the information of the genocide events from earlier and all of the deaths of the mutants of this issue just for several pages, just driving home that this was the final thing. There's going to be no more after this. They're done being killed.
Yeah. I'm a bit surprised that Xavier did not. I believe him now when he said that he did not expect them to die. He did not want this to be a suicide mission.
Mm-hmm.
Magneto's kind of hanging back here. I think he had the right idea from the beginning. He was probably expecting this.
Yeah. I think Magneto, out of all people, knows that the cruelty of man can go very far, and he looks more disappointed that he was right than anything else.
Yeah, the mood here is incredibly somber, which makes sense. Like, you have Beast, Storm, Magneto, Xavier's crying. Like, this was definitely like they succeeded, but this was a pretty big blow to the morale here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Sergio, how do you kind of feel about this genocide stuff with this kind of recontextualization of this issue at the end here?
This feels a little bit more weighty than what we got at the beginning, so this is definitely better. Um, and I guess it communicates well the intensity of the emotion that Xavier is going through. This is obviously kind of what's going through his mind as he reminisces about everything that's happened and sees it reflected on the mission that just finished. So as he said, a victory but a defeat nonetheless. Especially for, and I think this makes it more weighty that the team that got wiped out had so many like easily identifiable mutants.
Mm-hmm.
So that definitely lends it more weight instead of just like sacrificing some throwaway characters or people that we didn't really know.
Yeah, like I think the Powers of X kind of has that had a pretty similar kind of suicide mission thing going on, but these are a bunch of, it's new characters, and the returning ones are people that are exclusive to that timeline. This is like Cyclops, Nightcrawler, Wolverine, Jean Grey. Like, these are characters and are familiar with.
Yeah, and the Powers of X that got like reset like
Yeah,
immediately after.
yeah. It's just
So
like
yeah.
we're done already. And I almost kind of wonder if that was the intention of the issue, to kind of present the genocides initially as kind of cold, like these are numbers on a page, and then you go through that whole issue, and then it kind of it comes back to look at these numbers now, but now you have this emotional weight behind it. Um,
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they still don't work as well for me at the very beginning of the issue, but this does make up for it in showing the actual, again, intensity of the sentiment.
right.
Mm-hmm. And I almost think that the brutality at which everybody is executed in this issue also kind of adds to that. I mean, with Jean Grey at the end, as the Sentinels are ripping into her escape pod, the last shot you see of her is her cowering as a Sentinel face is shoved through the wall.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, her, and it feels like you get kind of a wide variety of them, but it feels like, aside from Nightcrawler and Wolverine, a lot of these deaths weren't really like much for self-sacrifice. It was just kind of Well, I guess Monet too, but most of these deaths feel kind of almost random and just sudden.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You could almost argue senseless
Yeah.
in a way, but
Yeah.
yeah, they
Husk
definitely
got
are.
to do nothing. That's
Yeah,
that's a shame.
Husk and Angel just immediately blow up.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that was unfortunate.
Uh, yeah. So
So, I'm actually curious, Sergio, as we're going through these, and now we've hit this point where a lot of these big mutants have just died. What do you think is going to come from this? Out of everything, like you've seen that as we're going through these, there's a bigger picture being painted here. So I'm curious what you think is going to come from just all of this.
I feel like this feels like a major breaking point for Xavier. I wonder if we're going to see an inversion of what we've seen so far, with Magneto kind of being the sensible one and Xavier wanting to go like all the way now that he's experienced this.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of my thoughts. Yeah, they've accomplished their mission if we are to believe that the Mother Mold actually like met its end by being shot into the sun.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so in that sense, it's definitely kind of like reset the timeline once more, or created a new point from which Moira, if she's still around, we still haven't seen her in this timeline, can like work from. Yeah, they have a brand new possibility space basically.
Yes, they stopped Nimrod from coming online at the very least. So now they do have at least more time before there's any other attack on them. But again, it's also at what cost?
Yeah, now that Arceus has lost its trump card, we'll see how they react.
yeah, this definitely feels kind of like a major turning point in the story here. So let's see how it goes. I guess. Do we want to go into Powers of X?
Yeah, let's
Yeah,
do it.
actually, before we do that, I do just want to say, again, I say this for a lot of these issues, but I really liked House of X number 4 here. Again, the pacing is really good, especially at the end. And I really think that the point of which that they're all trying to make here, that mutants are just brutally killed over and over and over again, and it seems like nobody really cares outside of the mutants. I think that's driven home perfectly. I think they do a wonderful job just making that point very clear that nobody cares about the mutants but the mutants, and they're very tired of being stepped on. So, what comes from that, we'll see. But I think this was just an excellent issue overall.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yes, we will. Yeah, let's talk about Powers of X here then.
All right. So, going into Powers of X number 4, Something Sinister, written by Hickman and released in September of 2019, we have the complete opposite in tone of the issue we just talked about. We see here in X Men Year One as Xavier and Magneto go to Bar Sinister to meet with Mr. Sinister. They are stopped at the gate by a guard who reveals that he is one of many Mr. Sinisters on this island.
I know nothing about Bar Sinister. It this looks nuts. It's like a
Yes,
it
it's this big red and purple crystal palace island.
yeah, like it looks almost like a ruby. Um,
Yes.
yeah. I don't know if this is clouds or smoke that are just kind of bellowing over it. I assume clouds, but I don't know. It's neat looking. It also looks kind of phallic.
Yes, I don't know if that's just a thing with castles in this, but yes, it does.
Yeah, once again, all of my knowledge from Marvel Snap coming in handy.
Oh,
Because
is
both
Mr. Sinister?
Mr. Sinister and Var Sinister are
Oh, there
like
you go.
one of them is a card and the other is a location. So I had a pretty good inkling of what was going on here before I even got to this issue, which is a lot of fun.
That's actually pretty fun. And I'm curious, what does Sinister do in the game?
So when you play Mr. Sinister, he basically creates a copy of himself in the same location as you played him.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
And then
yeah,
there's Bar Sinister, which is a location in the game. So basically what you do in the game is you try to control 2 of 3 locations, and these usually have effects depending on what they are. And what Bar Sinister does is when you play a card on it, it basically it fills that location with copies of that card. So I had a very good
Okay.
inkling of what was going on
Yeah,
here.
Sinister might involve a couple clones. Uh,
Uh-huh.
yeah, let's get into it a little bit.
Yeah.
Yes, just a little bit of clones as we are brought into Bar Sinister, and every single person in here is a Mr. Sinister or a Mrs. Sinister, as we see everybody dressed up very finely in fine clothes, and they are all him. We do see a king or a leader, Mr. Sinister, sitting on a throne. And in a bit of moment of clarity and comedy, and to show the character, he stops them from introducing themselves and immediately takes note of Magneto's cape and wants to know why he doesn't have one because he loves it so much. And one of the other Mr. Sinisters next to him says that he always thought that he should have a cape but never mentioned it. And immediately the King Mr. Sinister has him executed really brutally in front of everybody before continuing the conversation as if nothing happened.
Uh-huh. So I'll tell you one thing Marvel Snap didn't prepare me for, the tone in this place.
Yeah, Sinister is very flamboyant and kind of insane.
Yes, and I want to say this characterization of him is actually fairly new. I think
Hmm.
he's more of a serious character in other writers' hands, and him being more flamboyant and funny has been more of a new development over time.
Yeah, my experience with him earlier, I feel like I've always known him to kind of have this characterization to some degree. I feel like Hickman's always kind of wrote him like this. I don't know if this started from somewhere else, but yeah, when he was first introduced in like kind of Claremont era X-Men, I don't even know if he started Sinister. He was more serious, and I feel like that characterization was what they kind of used when he was in the '90s cartoon as well. But yeah, that's not here anymore.
Yes, and we see more of that as Magneto and Xavier explain that they're here because they want something from him. They know that Mr. Sinister is building a library cataloging the world's DNA, and they would like him to do that with mutant DNA.
Um, not even just also do that, but straight up like stop cataloging humans, start cataloging mutants.
Yeah, back
Yep.
when we spoke about Sinister in the very first issue of Powers of X, I think,
Yes.
I remember saying that that info drop that we got is something that I would have liked to see on the page in the actual writing. And I feel like this is a bit of that. Like, this is kind of the inception of the sort of things that happen that lead to him doing his weird um, hybrid mutant experiments and them going haywire and him having some ulterior motive for doing
Mm-hmm.
it. And this is kind of not a complete fulfillment of that wish, but at least we're getting some of that.
Yeah,
Yes.
this is kind of odd because I know the Powers of X stuff happened in that timeline, so presumably the fact that we have Xavier Magneto here does I feel like kind of point to this being the current timeline.
Yeah, for
Presumably
sure.
they know Sinister ends up betraying them. Um, so I'm curious why they decided they needed to get a better Lemire, but maybe they think they can control
I think it's that, and I also think it's because Mr. Sinister is, as they said, the expert on DNA and cataloging it. So I don't think they have anybody else they could turn to. And it kind of has to be him. And it also helps that he's a mutant as well.
Well,
They didn't get the memo on what the machine supremacy guys did when he defected to their side.
True, maybe. Yeah, that's possibly true. They might not even know that happened.
yeah. Also, apparently, Mr. Sinister here is not a mutant. He does not have any interest in cataloging mutant DNA, unfortunately, for Magneto and Xavier, and that's where the scene ends. We're just done. We're done here.
Yep, we're done. They leave, and unfortunately, Mr. Sinister is never seen again. But thankfully for us, that fake King Mr. Sinister gets his head blown off as the real Mr. Sinister shows up and says that he will gladly work with them because he himself is a mutant and also really likes the ambition and charisma that is on display.
Yeah, I don't know if this is the real Mr. Sinister as much as just a different clone that was like, oh no, that sounds good.
Yeah, that seems very tongue-in-cheek. The I'm the real one bit.
Yeah. Also, this one has a cape.
Yes, this one has a very magnificent cape. So there's at least some through line of thought between all of the clones that they really like capes. But once this new Mr. Sinister comes in and gladly agrees, Xavier says that they will explain what they need, but then he needs to erase Mr. Sinister's memory until Xavier tells him to remember. So he will still do all of this, he just won't remember why he's doing it.
Yeah, this is some 5D chess bullshit. I love it.
Yeah, just like, okay, you do that. Don't remember that we asked you to do it though. It's good stuff. I'm excited to see where this ends up going.
Mm-hmm. And then we get a beautiful 2-page spread of the Red Diamond, which is news and gossip from Bar Sinister. And we get our 10 sinister secrets laid out here.
Sure.
Yeah, these are I feel bad, Sergio. I don't know how much a lot of these are gonna make sense. Honestly, some of these feel like they're kind of over my head too, but a lot of these feel like they're kind of riddles pointing towards specific mutants.
I see. Yeah, like 12% maybe. You're gonna have to walk me through this.
Yeah, I was gonna say, when I first read this, none of this made sense. I remember talking with friends trying to figure it out, and people had some pretty good guesses about what these meant. All of these secrets, there's 10 of them, seem to be listing towards very specific mutants. Having read everything up to current with the X-Men and reading this again, there's actually a lot of these that lay out plot points that aren't touched on for at least a year and a half, which is really cool. I didn't realize so much of this was laid out straight from the start. But there are still a couple in here that I don't know who they're talking about.
Yeah, like Sinister Secret 1. Is he talking about himself? I
Yeah,
I
I don't know.
yeah.
Sinister Secret 1, for reference, is he's trying to pretend that no one noticed he was wearing red shoes, but this truly sinister Sinister isn't fooling anyone.
Was the Sinister over here wearing red shoes? No, I don't think he was.
I also don't think any of them were wearing red shoes. I don't know. That's the thing, is I don't know. Some of these are still question marks to me.
Um, any of these what of these have you noticed, Sergio? Like, do any of these kind of ring a bell to you?
God, not really. I feel like some of them are more straightforward than others, so I may be able to extrapolate some information from them, but I cannot really tell. No.
Yeah. Um,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so kind of going through these a little bit. Sinister Secret 2. Seems we talk about a mutant fashion designer that came back to life. Sinister Secret 3 is talking about a deceased redhead pretender made a pact with a devil when she passed on, but apparently, this is any secrets she had went to the grave, but that's not true. And she left behind a whole lot more than secrets. That sounds like Madeline Pryor.
Very much so.
Uh,
And I'm fairly certain I know who number 2 is talking about as well. I don't know if we want to answer all of these.
yeah, I
Uh,
don't wanna I wanna answer the ones that I think I would know, but if there's some that I think I know because of spoilers, I'm not really gonna go into it. Um,
okay.
Yeah, maybe we want to come back to some of these as they come up.
yeah,
I think we do, because there is one I do want to talk about here, but keep going, Tim.
I want to just kind of focus on the ones that I think that people would know. Sinister Secret 4, I'm not really sure. The Sinister Secret revealed thing here, I think is interesting. The person that he got the mutant DNA from is Thunderbird, who is the first X-Men, I think, to die. If they might have retconned that later, but he is the first X-Men, if you were like reading in the 70s, to ever die. He joined the X-Men when Xavier kind of formed the Claremont era team, and on like the first mission out, he did not come back.
Oh, what was his power?
Um, I don't remember. I think it was just kind of vague, like strength enhancement stuff. I think the issue they ran into him was he had a very similar personality type to Wolverine.
Mm, yeah,
Um,
I could see that.
yeah. Sinister Secret 5. I will say he's the best there is at what he does. That's a famous line that's used to refer to Wolverine. Um,
Do you know who's mentioned? It's he's the best there is at what he does. She's married with a kid. The husband knows what's going on. Do you know who it's referencing there in the last two?
um, I'm not gonna answer that.
Okay, that's fair.
Sinister Secret 7 sees me talk about the Summers because that's the whole like brothers jumped out of a plane thing. But yeah, I think for a lot of these we kind of want to come back to them.
Yes. I do want to mention, though, there is one here. It's another Sinister Secrets revealed. It basically says that this word is not often spoken, but when it does, you best pay attention because because when you square that circle, what took a long time to build can come crumbling down rather quickly. And then in brackets, it says Inferno, which is a very important word we're gonna want to remember.
That's also a that's something that happened to do with Madeline Pryor back in like the 80s, I think. She pretty much brought hell onto Earth because she ended up in control of Limbo for a bit. Um, Sinister Secret 10, I think, is just kind of important because this one's basically just spelled out a little bit. Which brainwashed mutant Sinister was replaced long before a certain bald somebody knew and has been on the game for almost as long as the game was being played. So yeah, Xavier didn't his 5D chess thing I think is implied just it didn't really work out in their
Uh-huh.
favor.
Yeah, Sinister was playing 6D chess, so unfortunately Xavier was on the back foot and didn't even know he was on the back foot.
Yeah, this very much feels like a sort of trickster character, so I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. If he was like 2 steps ahead.
Yeah, yeah, he's very unpredictable, but also, as we saw, very violent at the same time. It's a really fun combo, actually. But continuing on, we do have the X Men. It mentions here that what happens here was a couple of months ago, as we see Xavier bring Cypher onto Krakoa for the first time. And the two discuss a little bit that Xavier has been trying to make connection to the mutant island Krakoa and talk to it. And he's been able to just a little bit and has been able to make somewhat of a connection. But he decided to bring Douglas here because Douglas's power is being able to understand any language.
Can we talk about Xavier's like little safari fit he's got going on here? Like
Yeah, he's got this cute little like safari outfit going on, and complete with a little hat and some pants.
yeah, he looks like a dork. It's real good.
He does. He really does, and it's great. He's very excited to be here.
Yeah, he's on his recruitment tour basically.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Cypher does not seem super impressed by this, by the way.
No, but he very quickly turns around as they go into the jungle and they meet Krakoa, which is looking very much like the Great Deku Tree. And Douglas introduces himself, and Krakoa speaks a couple of words, and Cypher is able to break down a little bit of the language, but he needs to hear more.
Yeah, so they kind of talk about this a little bit. Xavier has formed kind of an empathetic or empath based kind of communication system with Krakoa, where Cypher, being able to understand language, is able to tell exactly what Krakoa is trying to communicate. Um,
Yes.
like Krakoa says some stuff, and Xavier he's sad, and Cypher's like, yeah, you didn't get all the information there, huh?
Yeah, he kind of talks down to Xavier just a little bit. He's like, okay, you got the empathetic level of it, but what he's actually trying to say is this. And we get a very sudden backstory for Krakoa here, as Cypher explains that what Krakoa just said is he used to be one land called Okara, and they were ancient before the word existed, and not yet old in the way that they were old. But unfortunately, the Twilight Sword of the enemy tore the island in two, became Araco and Krakoa. And from this tear came enemies untold. And if it wasn't for the first mutant, who is very clearly Apocalypse, and his 4 sentinels, the world would have been overrun with enemies. So, having beat them back enough, This first mutant sealed his 4 sentinels and the island of Araco into the gate, and now the 2 that were one are forever split.
Well, he said his four to Sentinel that land. I don't think they refer to them as Sentinels because that's got some
Oh yes,
bad connotation there. But
that's true. That's true. You are correct. It is sent his 4 to Sentinel the land, not actually be Sentinels.
yeah, but yeah, these are his horsemen. I feel like that's kind of obvious, or like the original ones, which they talked about in one of the Sinister Secrets. We kind of skipped over, but yeah, he apparently likes these people quite a bit.
Yeah, so we get that bit of completely unrelated lore that won't come up ever again.
Yeah, definitely not. We're definitely not going to see Apocalypse in this run.
They just needed a way to like fill out 4 extra panels, and this is what they came up with.
Yeah.
Yes, and they also needed to give a little bit to the mutant talking island, and Cypher was able to get this in maybe 2 sentences, and even then he's like, or something like that. He's not showing off.
Yeah, it's very efficient language. Lots of information in little packages.
Yes, and we get a little bit more of that after this, as later Cypher and Xavier head back to the jet that they arrived on. And Cypher understands that there's more going on here than what Xavier is saying. And very quickly, Xavier shows him his plans. And his plan is to turn Krakoa into a place for mutants to live. And he needs Cypher to develop an interface so everybody can talk to Krakoa, even though nobody can understand him. And Cypher's, being humble and honest, says it'll take him a year, maybe a couple of months.
Mm-hmm.
And given that the start of this sequence we saw it was a couple of months ago, we know he was very successful in it. And we get a very nice breakdown of the Krakoan systems at work here. You have Krakoa itself, the mutant island, and it is broke down in an interface where you have transit that is being monitored by Sage. You have defense being monitored by somebody named Black Tom Cassidy. You have external systems with Trinary, and the Overwatch or data analysis with Beast.
Black. Sorry.
Yeah, I was under the impression these are 2 different people.
Oh, for Black Tom Cassidy?
Yeah. Nope. That's that's just a person. Yeah, Black Tom Cassidy is one of Juggernaut's buddies. I think he is related, or like, I think Banshee is his cousin because that's Sean Cassidy.
Oh, interesting. I actually never made that connection.
Yeah. But yeah, that Black Tom Cassidy, like, historically just kind of pals around with Juggernaut a lot. Cypher. I'm going to tell you guys a little Cypher backstory here. He was in the original New Mutants run, kind of joined later, when a new writer took over for that book. Cypher was killed off. I think the reason given was they thought that Cypher was kind of lame. Cypher had a tendency to stay in the background of fights a lot and just didn't really do much. So he was kind of on the list to get killed off, and seeing him elevated to the importance he seems to have here is kind of funny.
It's kind of nice, and I can understand why he's in the background, because his mutant power is to understand language. He's not really a fighter. He's not like Wolverine or anybody. He can just understand everything.
Yeah.
So, but the characters listed here, more just some nice background information. The more important thing here is that Cypher was able to do what he was tasked with, and now Krakoa has a couple of different systems in play going on at the island.
And apparently a rumored underground lab where Forge is working on some biological machines to expand what they got going on, I think.
Yeah.
And taking a hard left turn, we go back to the year 1000 with our fun blue post-humans. And we're back with them talking with the Phalanx. And they agree to Ascension. So the Elder sends out a small little robotic ball called a Seer Self to the Phalanx. And it absorbs it, takes the entire thing. And the Elder asks it if they are in the Phalanx somewhere. And after a bit of a funny phrase to see if the code has now been implemented in the Phalanx, the machine agrees and immediately proceeds to glitch out. It begins to lose form and kind of rambles on in a odd sentence that really doesn't make any sense.
I think that was the sequence.
Probably. The elder mentions a sequence that the two of them would know, and this seems to be it.
Yeah, because
But
they go on to this, and then the elder is just like, so it worked. So I think that was the. I think this kind of nonsense is the sequence.
yes, and as it is proceeding to lose its form, it gathers up the few other phalanx that are with it, and tells the elders and the rest of them there to wait for an answer. And we get a bit of conversation here as they explain what just happened. So essentially, the phalanx will only take mechanical intelligence into itself during ascension. They do not take physical, biological beings. So, because all of the post humans here are biological beings, they are trying to get a workaround with it. So the elder placed its entire consciousness into this small mechanical seer self and uploaded itself to the phalanx. And they are hoping that the idea the elder had to come to an agreement with the phalanx is going to work, and that the phalanx will start to take on biological beings instead of just mechanical ones.
I think the idea is less we're going to take the biological beings and more the workaround is we're going to all copy ourselves onto this little orb thing and then they'll absorb those.
Maybe, because one of the last panels we see is two of the post human guards being drawn into the massive phalanx mass at the moment. So I'm wondering if. I really do think that the workaround is, oh, you can just take us instead because we made the machines. We're as good as the machines.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't really get that they don't take biological entities. It's more like they can't.
Possible, too.
Yeah,
We
they do
really don't know
mention
how
that
they work.
the usual method, as this same panel is happening, they're speaking in the background, and one of them says the problem is that this method does not work with biological entities.
Yeah.
So who knows if they are able to hack the phalanx enough to make them compatible with biological entities, or if they have just found a workaround through these vessels.
Yeah, like we just copy ourselves and we'll put those in there. And I don't know, that doesn't really sound much like this whole ascension thing to me, but I guess it works. Um,
I mean, in a way, you do live on.
yeah.
So it is technically your entire consciousness, your entire being. It's just now in a different form.
So I wonder if the idea is just to kind of wipe out the planet after this because it feels odd that like okay all of our experiences are in here now but then like what happens next? Do you just kind of go on living your life because then like all those new experiences won't be in there.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the end game is here. Considering how strong the phalanx is and is described as, it wouldn't surprise me if they take all of the consciousness into themselves and then just eat the planet.
Yeah, this is the one thread that's still like being very oblique and being very mysterious. So
Yeah,
there's it doesn't feel like I can get much out of this. Like I'm just waiting for the shoe to drop and figuring out what's happening here exactly. Like what's the end game for? The phalanx seems very kind of like automatons. Like they don't have an agenda specifically. They just are. But I really don't get what the post-humans are trying to do. So I'm guessing we're getting more of that hopefully soon.
yeah. We only got
Yeah,
about two more issues of Powers of X, which seems to be where the X3 plot line is. So yeah, I'm hoping that happens pretty soon here.
yeah, because I agree with you. There's really not. The only thing, honestly, tying all of this together is the little Nimrod that we have seen, and Silabel still in a tank. But yeah, there doesn't seem to be a very big connection to the current timeline of the X-Men that we know. So it's very, like you said, it's hard to figure out what this is all trying to get to.
Silobel being in a tank happened in Moira's ninth life, didn't it?
Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
it did.
That was in the year 1,000, year 100. I don't remember. Yeah.
Year 100, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
so are we looking at the ninth timeline again?
That. Yeah.
I want to say yes.
See, I.
Yeah, so like because I remember Tim saying last episode that he thought that when Moira died, the timeline kind of entirely reset, but this makes it look like it just keeps going.
Yeah, I kind of wonder if all those other timelines are still going or not, or if this is something different that we're looking at, or maybe this is actually the future that we're looking at.
Yeah, because something that just clicked for me, and I was wondering about this, was I remembered that there was a mention. I don't remember if it was on the previous issue we just talked about or the previous episode. Um, there was a mention of like non-human exterminating Nimrods. Like Nimrods are an inevitability, but the mutant hating ones can be prevented. There was something along the side those lines.
Yeah, well, it
Yes.
was
Yes.
it was the AI making an AI to go kill mutants is inevitable, but a Nimrod, which is like the super killer, isn't necessarily inevitable. Like
Oh, okay.
you can prevent a Nimrod, you can't really prevent someone's gonna make something resembling a Sentinel. It doesn't have to get to Nimrod levels.
Okay. Yeah. Looks like there's still stuff to be revealed.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, for sure. We have a lot of plot threads and a lot of questions, honestly, that are still going, not even with this year 1000 timeline, but just in the current day timeline as well, with all of the mutants that were just killed, the nation that is still trying to be formed. We don't know where Moira is, we haven't seen her at all. So there's a lot up in the air at the moment.
Yeah, there sure is.
So, but to wrap up this issue and this episode, what did you guys think about Powers of X number 4?
um, yeah, but it feels like kind of a almost a go between issue. I feel like this is the one that feels the most separate from what's going on in House of X. Weirdly enough, even like it feels like a very big departure from what we were just doing.
Yes, I would 100% agree with that because we get an introduction to a new character in the past, we get a little bit about the island, and then we get something in the future that we don't know how it connects. It's just kind of there almost. It's not bad, it's not a bad issue. It's just very sitting by itself at the moment.
Yeah, it feels like we finally let off the gas pedal a little bit and are back kind of where we were with like kind of like around the issue 1, issue 2 area.
Yeah, what about you, Sergio?
Yeah, I agree. It's basically a potpourri of disconnected scenes that kind of fill out some blanks that we had before. But none of them feel necessarily major. Like I could have figured out, or rather, I could have imagined what was going on with like Cypher when he was recruited.
Right.
I guess this last section is the one that again advances the plot somewhat of that specific X3 section that we've been following. But since it's so disconnected, as far as we know from the rest of the issues, it feels kind of, just hanging out in its own.
Yeah, I think the X3 stuff like really sticks out now that the X2 kind of plot line has ended. Because before it was kind of like, okay, you got X2 here, and then X3 is like kind of the future of that. But now it's like, well, what's going on with X3 now that X2 is just done?
And we've seen so little of it. This is the first time we go back to X3 since I think at least 3 issues ago.
Yeah, so it like I feel like we didn't get much of it. It was just kind of like X2 was like the meat of the issue, and then like you get like a couple pages of X3, and now it's just like, well, this is kind of the odd man out here. So what's going on with this little plot line?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And, given how these issues have gone already, I think it's going to follow through. We've already had some really good plot follow throughs already that we mentioned last episode. So I'm still hopeful that we're going to get something from this.
Yeah, and I do like the sci-fi vibe a lot. Like again, this gives me big like childhood sand vibes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I'm
it's hard
definitely
to discuss.
interested to see what's gonna happen.
Yeah, hard to discuss in an audio format, but the art throughout all of these issues have been wonderful and incredible, and the way the phalanx look are really cool. It's like this almost liquid machine form that they have. It's honestly, it's really neat.
It is fun when they go all glitchy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're real trippy looking. So we wanna call it there.
Yeah, I suppose we can start wrapping it up. If you have any questions, comments, or you want to help fill out some questions that we have, you can shoot us an email at studyofx@gmail.com. And if you have any questions or anything, we'll read them on the next episode and hopefully answer them for you.
Yeah,
Uh,
give us your best guess on what some of these sinister secrets are. But don't give us spoilers, please.
yes. Please, no spoilers. Tim and I do know what's coming, but Sergio, we are trying to keep as pure as possible going into this.
I won't be checking the inbox.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's very
yeah,
fair.
no, I can do that. And if you want to find us on social media, we are under Study of X on Twitter and also on Tumblr as well, and co-host. So you can follow us there. If you could also, if you're still listening to this, if you could leave us a review on your favorite podcasting app, that would be a huge help, as we would love to be able to keep talking about the X-Men with as many people as we can.
Yeah, it seems like we have to build an audience. No one told me about this.
Yeah, I don't
Right?
I don't know what this whole deal is.
I was just told I can talk about the X-Men with my friends, and that's what I'm doing. So,
But yeah. Where can they find you all on Twitter?
if you want to follow me on Twitter, I am Sonics on Twitter, SAWNEEKS.
And you can find me at Fireblend, FIREBLEND.
All right.
And if you're looking for Tim, please keep looking for him. We think he might be part of the Phalanx, but we're not sure. So if you hear anything, please let us know.
So on the next episode, we will be covering House of X number 5 and Powers of X number 5. Hope to see you all there. Later, mutants.
Alright, later, mutants.
Mr. Sinister did nothing wrong.
Oh no.
Oh no, I don't know about that.
Bye. Bye.